I'm Rebecca, and this is for my application into the Masters of Social Work program at Winona State. So, to answer the first question, important values and qualities to me that I have in my own life are being very hardworking. Both my parents were really hard workers, and it kind of got passed down to me. I like to keep an open mind because you never know what you can learn from someone. I like to be and have people who are reliable in my life, to know that I can count on them and that they'll always be here for me. And what I've actually learned through experience is that no matter how hard something is or how much you don't enjoy it, at least stick it out for a little bit longer and don't give up, because it could be a really great experience for you. I think that these will help me in my work as a social worker, because being hardworking is obviously a good quality, and open-minded because you'll be working with a lot of different and diverse populations, and people will be going through different things, and their experiences and what they know will be different from yours. So it's important to keep your mind open and willing to learn from other people, and not just thinking that your way is the right way. I also think that my values will be different than other people's values, and this can cause a challenge for me. Like if someone isn't hardworking or won't give something another try because it didn't work out the first time, that would be a challenge for me because it's a personal value that I follow. But I think having self-awareness is very important, and knowing that I am not there for me, I'm there to help them. And who knows, maybe their ideas or their way will actually work out for them in the end. So it's just good to be open-minded and to make sure that I'm thinking about the best for the client, and it's not about me. So different experiences that I've had with different cultures and groups and individuals. I worked at Walt Disney World for a semester through their college internship program. And through that, I got to work with people from all over the world. I know people from China, Brazil, Australia, New Zealand, France, Canada. There were even someone just from lacrosse. I knew a lot of different people in that, and it was really interesting, talking to them and learning about what's normal in their culture, and even a lot of the things that my friends from Australia said. That was they said it with their lingo, so it was kind of more slang, but I had to ask a lot of things and ask a lot of questions to make sure I was understanding them right and we were on the same page. So it provided a lot of learning experiences, and knowing that just because we don't share the same culture or don't share the same language, we can still communicate, and we all worked really well together. And it was really interesting to know that all of these people from all over the world came and worked at this one specific spot. We were all different ages, and it was really a fascinating experience. I also currently work as a personal care assistant for a 12-year-old with cerebral palsy. So when I first started, I had just gotten out of my CNA class, and it was a learning curve for sure, because I had no experience previously with a child with that kind of disability. He is fully in a wheelchair. He's deaf, blind, he has seizures. So it was a totally new experience for me. But what I've learned through this is that he's just a kid and he just wants to be like any other kid. He wants to play and have fun. He wants to be a part of the family and like still have dinner with them and like play games with them. And it was really interesting to see how his sisters also interacted with him and how they included him and how it was like the norm for them. So there was a lot of different aspects that I got to see that was totally different from the normal family dynamic. It was very different and it showed like the importance of emotions and using facial expressions and how that is a huge part of communication. And even though there are obviously barriers, you can still understand that when something is wrong, when you're doing something right. So it's really interesting. And I still work there, and you can just tell when he's super happy. So it's a really rewarding job. I also volunteered um, through Winona State and in St. Croix for just like we made turtle nest signs and such. And through this, um, Professor Berg showed us a whole different culture, and that was a very new learning experience because we sat down and talked with college students who had gone through the hurricane that had recently happened, and it was just mind-boggling what they have to go through. Obviously, a lot more recent or a lot more than we do. All we have to deal with is like blizzards. So it was fascinating to sit down and see where they have to have their values, and it's not where exactly where they want to be, but it's just like a lot more life or death kind of during like a hurricane. Well, we don't really have any severe natural disasters. And it was also interesting seeing um, like how different it was there. A lot of people were more relaxed. The culture was a little bit more relaxed, so it was more like you worked one job and you kind of just had the other rest of your day to relax, and it wasn't like everything was in a rush how we are and like attached to our phones. It was about beauty of the island and what you can do to help it and such. It was a very different like cultural shift from ours, from being like fast paced, always on the go, always moving in a sense. So that was a very different cultural experience. So in my past, I have had leadership experience. I was a crew leader at one of my jobs back home in a subs and ice cream shop. So when the boss wasn't there, I got to handle the money, I got to handle the crew, what they did, made sure everything was like locked up. I got to open, set everything up. The biggest thing that I learned from that is that leadership can be hard because you have to find what works best and you have to find certain boundaries that you need to put up so that they will still respect you and but they won't treat you poorly or despise you secretly. So it was like what I did personally was I learned to that if I respected them, they respected me. If I treated them like an equal, like with respect, they also respected me. And there also needed to be like boundaries set in place because excuse me, I knew a lot of people that worked there from like just my high school. So I had to set boundaries in place and they had to know that like while we were friends outside of work, I was still in charge that at that time. Like the boss wasn't there, so you needed to listen to me. And it was also you had to learn that every person is an individual and they're different. Some people respond to a more authoritative leadership style and some respond more better to like a friendship kind of style. So you had to figure out who responded to what and use that to your advantage, and so all the work would get done. And it worked really good. I was a leader there for 3 years, and me and my boss are still pretty good friends today because she enjoyed how well I did at my job. I think that I would be a good social worker because from my different experiences, I've worked well with most populations, and I have a strong passion to help. I've previously been through hard times, mental illnesses, and I know what it's like to be in those dark places, and I want to be there helping them through that to my best ability and being there for them because I know someone was there for me and it made all the difference. I'm also very hardworking and willing to put in the work and know that there will be challenges, but I'm willing to keep going and not give up and try one more time. Always keep persevering. I know that this career can be challenging and rewarding, but it also has a lot of uncertainty or like gray area, and I understand that it's not like one case fits all other cases. Like it's kind of a case by case thing, and it's a lot of learning and applying what you've learned in past cases and basically trying. I don't want to say trial and error, but similar, like you have to keep doing what you need to do that is best for the client. And you need to realize that it is about the client and not about me personally. It's how I can help them, not how they can help me. And I think also that I have a passion to help people, and I want to be the one to empower them so they can do that on their own in the future. And I want to be doing that for others. And that is answering all the questions.